Now this morning you join me in the simply stunning, quaint village of Elswick, right here in rural Fylde, a location that I've had the absolute honour and privilege of getting to know in more intimate detail in recent months. And it's also a location that's becoming ever increasingly popular with home movers, but also a spot where properties rarely become available. But take it from me, the more that you get to know this unassuming village, the easier it is to understand exactly why that's the case. In fact, back in 2017, Elswick was crowned the top spot, the champion of champions for Britain in bloom, fending off competition from 77 other villages, towns and cities from across the UK. And arguably right now in 2022, this village is looking better than ever, with pops of colour and a real community care spirit everywhere you look. For me, that speaks volumes about just how much pride the people of Elswick take in this gorgeous village. Now, whilst Elswick offers everything that you could need on a day-to-day basis, it also connects you incredibly well to other local towns that you might be interested in visiting. For example, Fylde is just a short commute away. You've got ease of access to Garstang and to Lancaster, and the local motorway network can have you further afield at the drop of a hat. In fact, I regularly go and explore the rolling hills and the open waters of the Lake District, taking that very route. But of course, whilst I could stand here and wax lyrical about this gorgeous village community all day long, we are here to see a property. And if you're looking for a ready-made family home, a property you can move straight into with no chain delay, I've got a feeling that number 2, Fylde, is a property that you don't want to miss. Let's take a closer look. So here we are at today's featured property, which is nestled away on this quiet, family-friendly cul-de-sac, right in the heart of this magnificent village. Now, the owner of today's property actually built this property with his bare hands, but he didn't build just this home, he actually built every single property on this quiet cul-de-sac. But when the build was completed around 20 years ago, he couldn't help but hold back a small piece of luxury for himself, and it is indeed that very home that we're here to explore on today's feature. So with that said, let's take a look inside. Now, as somebody who's absolutely obsessed with properties, one of the real privileges about my work is not just marketing properties, but also learning a lot about the history and the stories behind the homes that we bring to life on these video features. So with that said, you can only imagine how over the moon I was when the existing owner of 2 Fylde gave me a full and comprehensive backstory of the history of the plot that this home sits on. Now, once stood here an impressive 19th century mansion complete with stables. Back then the property was called Hassall House after the then owner, Mr. Hassall. Now, Mr. Hassall made his fortune by retailing salt to the everyday consumer, one of the first in the UK to do so. And off the back of that, he built this home right here in Elswick. Now, that gives you a brief flavour for the history of this property, but to go forward to what we find in the present day, as you can see for yourself, we've got an impressive 5-bedroomed detached home, which sits just on the entrance of this family-friendly cul-de-sac. Now, from the moment you step onto the plot here at Fylde, it has to be said that first impression is nothing short of breathtaking. The scale and the grandeur of the home becomes immediately evident. You've got a leafy outlook to the front, which again makes for a great first impression, and the driveway is large enough to accommodate off-road parking for several vehicles. On top of that, you've got the added benefit of an integral double garage, which would make a great home gym, a workshop, or of course additional parking or storage. But as well as that, you've got a separate detached single garage to the side elevation of the home. When you walk in through the front entrance hall, those grand first impressions very much continue. In fact, I can't quite do justice to what a great first impression this property offers, as the size of this property becomes immediately evident thanks to the galley landing. You've got a full floor-to-ceiling drop, which really does show off the full depth of this property. Pair that with the fact that you've got strategically placed double glazed windows all around, it really does flood this space with natural light. The entrance hallway of a home isn't always a space of the property that would give an independent feature on one of these video tours, but today it felt very justified because it almost feels like a reception room in its own right and really draws you in and prompts you to explore this wonderful property further. Now as you make your way across the entrance hallway, you do so by passing this solid mahogany staircase, a real focal point in the space as well as a great mark of quality. Not only is the staircase solid mahogany, but so too are the skirting boards and the architraves, which again finishes this space off beautifully. You come into the first reception room, the very room you join me from at the moment, by passing these double doors, and you do so into a space which for me is incredibly versatile and could be adapted to suit the needs of your family. To the rear elevation of the home, you've got a large double glazed bay window which has been recently reinforced. The back gardens are actually south facing, so of course these windows welcome ample natural sunlight into this room, only amplifying that already great feeling of space. Just behind me we've got this exposed brickwork fireplace which surrounds a multi-fuel burner, which does a great job of warming this entire property and giving you a real nice, cosy, intimate feeling to relaxing at night with your nearest and dearest. Just past the multi-fuel burner you get a glimpse into the second reception room in this home, and this is the space that the previous homeowners have utilised as the principal family lounge. But again, this room is versatile and can be adapted to suit the wants and needs of your household. You've got a window to the front elevation and the rear elevation which gives you a peek into the leafy outlook to both the front and the rear of this property. As we pass over the solid oak wood flooring in what was the former dining room, we find the family kitchen in the west facing aspects of the home. Now this kitchen features 3 ovens, a separate microwave, a fitted fridge freezer and a dishwasher. In truth, this space is larger than your typical kitchen and is more of a social room, a family room and a place to connect the entire household for both formal and informal dining, or quite simply snuggling around that second log burning fire at the end of a long day. Now whilst the kitchen functions brilliantly as a large open social space, there is a partition in the shape of this large beam that almost divides the kitchen from the relaxation area. This wood is green heartwood, incredibly strong and rare. It originally came from a mill in Preston. Beyond the family kitchen, we walk into a utility space which takes you into the integral garage at the side of the home. In previous years, this garage has been used for storage and as a home workshop, but as you can see, there's plenty of space on offer to park up to a couple of vehicles. Now back into the main structure of the home, the entrance hallway connects you to the third and final reception area. Again, another space that's incredibly versatile. For me, this room would make a fantastic home gym, maybe a playroom, a study, or even a cinema room. Now right at the beginning of today's tour, I did give you an insight into the history of the home, and that was with very good reason, because whilst the existing homeowner built this property to create a space perfectly ready and functional for modern day family life, they also wanted to pay homage and respect to the property that once stood in this plot. So to do that, they've tried to salvage and reuse as many of the original features as possible when creating the property that we find today. And we see that through both the ground floor and the top floor of this property. For example, the fireplace and the hearth in the living room and the lintels over the fireplace were all taken from the original structure. So too were the oak planking in the kitchen and the cast iron bath upstairs in the principal family bathroom. Speaking of the top floor of this home, we've got no fewer than 5 bedrooms, and 4 of these bedrooms are great sized doubles. Now on the top floor, at the top of that impressive galley landing that we touched on earlier on, you've got 3 incredible double bedrooms, all of which face the rear aspect of this home. As I mentioned a few moments ago, the back garden is south facing, so of course that capitalises on the Fylde coast sunshine. Now all 3 of these double bedrooms benefit from built-in storage. The master in particular is a great size. You've got 2 great sized bathrooms upstairs complete with shower and that cast iron bath that was taken from the original structure, but the current owner tells me that this property was built with adaptation in mind. So if you wanted to add an ensuite to any of the bedrooms, I'm told the plumbing is in place to make that a relatively straightforward job. Over the double garage we find another double bedroom, a room that's been recently decorated and really does have a very fresh and vibrant finish. It also benefits from skylights which again flood ample natural light into the space. Now as I've been sat here enjoying this grand room, talking you through all the great things about this property, all the while I've had the pond glistening in the background through the double glazed bay window to the rear of the home. So let's take a closer look at what the gardens of Fylde have to offer. Now, on more than one occasion so far today, I've mentioned that the garden is south facing, and of course, if a garden is an important feature for you, then surely the direction in which it's facing must be a key consideration. But the orientation of this space, certainly, at least for my money, isn't the most impressive thing. What really impresses me is how, whatever your requirements are as a family, this garden really does offer something for absolutely everybody. First and foremost, it'd be difficult to argue just how picture perfect and pretty this outdoor space is, and if you're green fingered, then quite simply the possibilities here are absolutely endless. If you're not, but if you do like to entertain and have friends and family and maybe even your new neighbours round for a bite to eat, you've got a perfect paved area just at the property and to the rear of the space, which is perfect for alfresco dining or enjoying a barbecue. And of course, if your house is lucky enough to be blessed with children, then again the intrigue and the magic and the hiding spaces and the nooks and crannies in this garden really are something to be behold. It really is quite magical. Now, this property for me is a fine example of a family home, and it's got so much potential for somebody to enjoy many happy years with their nearest and dearest. You may have noticed that the property is now a vacant possession, meaning that it's offered to the market with no onward chain delay, and it's already ready for viewing. So if you're watching this and if you like what you've seen so far on today's tour, then take it from me that sometimes seeing really is believing. I'd love the opportunity to answer your questions and maybe give you your very own private showing. For now, my name's Ben, thank you for watching.